Hey everyone. So, as a teacher, you know your classroom is this amazing, dynamic place, right? It's full of energy and learning. But how do you actually show that? How do you capture all that magic and make it visible to administrators, to parents, or even just for your own reflection? Well, today we're going to dive into a really powerful method to turn your teaching into a compelling visual story. Okay, let's get right into it. This quote, wow, it just hits home, doesn't it? You're in there, making magic happen, conducting this whole symphony of learning, but then report time comes around and all that life and energy gets flattened into a boring, static checklist. It's a huge frustration for so many educators, and honestly, it's time for a change.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we're going to really unpack the problem with those old school reports. Then we'll introduce this idea of a visual story, look at the 4 big principles behind it, and I'll even share a golden formula for making it all work. And finally, we'll walk through a 5-step blueprint to bring it all to life in your classroom.
So what's the core issue here? Well, those text-heavy reports, they make the most important moments in your classroom totally invisible. They completely miss that spark of curiosity in a student's eyes, the buzz of collaboration, and all the subtle, expert ways you guide their learning. They might tell you what was taught, but they completely fail to capture the how and, the wow factor. This slide really highlights the huge shift in thinking we're talking about. We are moving away from those static checklists and towards dynamic evidence. We're leaving behind abstract descriptions for really concrete captured moments. And maybe most importantly, we're ditching a format that accidentally hides your professionalism for one that's designed from the ground up to showcase your expertise.
So what's the solution then? Well, it's a whole new way of thinking about reporting. It's a framework that empowers you to tell your professional story in a way that feels authentic and is just so much more impactful.
And this is the core idea right here. See the picture, know the flow. It's all about creating reports where anyone, your principal, a parent, can just look at it and instantly get the logical flow of the lesson and see the proof of learning right there in the pictures. And this isn't about adding more work to your plate. Not at all. It's about reframing the documentation you're already doing into the powerful storytelling tool it was always meant to be. You see, with this approach, a simple report becomes your professional story. It's basically a living, breathing, teaching resume that showcases your skills and provides undeniable visual proof of your students' growth.
All right, before we jump into the how-to, let's talk about the why. Because these 4 guiding principles, they're the foundation of this whole method. They're really the soul of your visual story.
First up is safety and routine. This is all about creating a predictable space where students feel confident enough to take chances. Think about a simple chant you might use, like ready, set, go, to start an activity. It seems small, but it builds a ton of trust. Now, from that safe foundation, we can get to inspiration. This is where you connect what you're teaching to their world. So maybe you use a popular anime character to get them interested. It's not just for fun, it's a strategic move to get real buy-in. And once they're hooked, it's time for innovation. This is that key moment where you shift them from being passive listeners to active creators. And finally, you pull it all together with clarity, using proven frameworks like I do, we do, you do, to make sure every single student has a clear path to success.
Okay, now for the engine of your visual story. This is a simple but incredibly powerful formula that is going to completely change how you caption your classroom photos.
This formula is absolutely key. Every single caption you write needs these 3 parts: what step of the lesson you're in, the specific teaching strategy you're using, and the direct student outcome you're seeing. This structure is non-negotiable, and for a good reason. It forces you to connect your professional action to a real, tangible result. It turns a simple snapshot into powerful evidence.
Okay, so let's see how this all clicks together in a real classroom. We have our golden formula, and now here's the 5-step blueprint for how to use it to visually document your lessons from beginning to end.
You can really see the narrative arc of your lesson in these 5 steps, can't you? From creating that safe space, to sparking motivation, to scaffolding and practicing, and then assigning a task where they can really show what they know. Each one of these steps is a perfect story-rich moment to capture with a photo. And this table just shows the golden formula in action, perfectly. Let's look at the practice row. The photo shows students bowing, right? But the caption tells the whole story. It names the strategies, TPR, which is total physical response, where you connect words to actions, and choral speaking, and it links them directly to the outcome, students memorizing greetings. Or check out the task row. The caption doesn't just say students are playing. No way. It identifies the strategy, role play, and the use of realia, which just means real-world objects like a passport, to achieve the outcome, which is confident communication. See? Each caption tells a complete story of cause and effect.
And what this does is it makes your professional techniques visible. You're not just practicing anymore. You're intentionally using specific, research-backed strategies that show off the deep expertise you bring to your classroom. You're using scaffolding, that crucial method of providing just the right support, and now you can show exactly how and when you do it. You're naming it and you're claiming it.
So when you put all these pieces together, the guiding principles, that golden formula, the 5-step blueprint, you end up with a report that is just so much more than a checklist. It tells a clear, compelling story of your professional practice and your student success, and it makes your impact absolutely undeniable.
Look, your teaching already has a powerful story to tell. This isn't about working harder on your reports. It's about working smarter to show the expertise that's already there every single day. So the real question is, how will you start telling your visual story and sharing the magic of your classroom with the world?